Canadian real estate prices continue to soar to new highs every single day. And that means the real estate bubble is just continuing to inflate to unsustainable levels until it inevitably pops. Well, I know one guy that definitely doesn't want this to happen. Oh, hey Justin. But before we get into it, if you're happy with the federal government right now, don't hit the like button. But if you're not so happy, you know what to do. If you think the Canadian government wants real estate prices to go down, you better think again. There's a couple of key factors that you need to keep in mind. The higher home prices go means the higher the transaction price on the purchase and sale of a home, which leads to higher taxes. Now, who would that benefit? And every time the federal government says they're going to do something about housing affordability, what do? Add another tax. And how's that worked out so far? At the very most, it put a tiny little blip in that graph, and then all of a sudden afterwards, straight up again. Do you realize how many taxes there currently are on Canadian real estate? Let's take a look. You've got your property taxes, your foreign buyers tax, your property transfer tax, your GST, your speculation and vacancy tax, your empty homes tax, your capital gains tax, and now they're proposing a new equity tax. Because as I already showed you, more taxes means more affordable housing, right? The revenue from property transfer tax alone in 2020 was $1.75 billion. And last year, in 2021, it was $2.1 billion. And in 2022, it's estimated to hit over $3 billion. But that couldn't have any impact on the government's decision making, could it? Well, let's take a look at the changes they've implemented since 2018. They've increased provincial property taxes, adding the school tax, which taxes homes assessed at over $3 million. They have a new top rate of 5% for property transfer tax for homes over $3 million. They've increased the foreign buyers tax in BC from 15% to 20%. And they've introduced a new speculation and vacancy tax of 2% for foreign owners and 0.5% for Canadian owners with vacant homes. And what's happened to home prices since 2018? Well, I'm gonna let this chart speak for itself. Oh yeah, wait a minute. What did the Liberal government say they were going to do to improve housing affordability during their last campaign in the fall? Their proposal was to ban foreign buyers for a 2-year period. And if you weren't aware, just a few weeks ago, they actually had the opportunity to do so, and they chose to vote it down. According to a Blacklock reporter, Liberal MPs on the Standing Committee on Finance in the House of Commons voted 6-5 to reject a Conservative motion to amend the Underuse Housing Tax Act to prohibit non-resident foreigners from purchasing residential properties for 2 years. Conservative and NDP MPs supported the motion, that was a tongue twister, while the Liberals and Bloc Québécois voted against it. Now, while in my personal opinion, I don't actually think banning foreign buyers is going to make a major impact on housing prices, the bigger fact here is that the Liberal government lied to you yet again. And why is that, you might ask? Well, keep in mind that in BC, foreign buyers pay an additional 20% tax on top of their purchase price, and in Ontario, it's an additional 15%. So they might have a little bit of an incentive there. Additionally, real estate makes up more than 10% of Canada's GDP. Since 2005, real estate rental and leasing has grown at 20% faster than GDP. Although it's just a fraction of real estate's contribution to Canada's economic output, it's still an astronomical number. Something else to keep in mind is that 76% of Canadians own their home and benefit from increasing real estate prices, at least to some degree. So if you think the majority of people want housing prices to go down, think again. Not to say that they have a ton of control over it, but it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. But at the end of the day, the only way we would really see a major crash in Canada is if we saw an incredibly large increase in inventory. And one of the only ways this would most likely happen is if we saw interest rates go through the roof overnight. And this just isn't gonna happen. Once again, keep in mind that the majority of people with mortgages have to qualify at the stress test. And the stress test is currently at 5.25%, or the rate you have contracted with your lender plus 2%, whichever is higher between the two. And the large majority of those who got mortgages within the last 2 years have a rate of under 2% if variable and closer to 3% if fixed. Currently, variable rates are sitting around 1.5%, with fixed rates just over 3%. Just a quick disclaimer here, I am not a mortgage broker. Please consult them for any more additional information, but I am just sharing information that has been passed along to me. And none of this is financial advice, so please speak with a professional before you make any decisions. But at the end of the day, if you really think that this bubble's gonna pop, or that we're even in a bubble for that matter, you might want to think again. The government just has far too much vested interest in the real estate market to ever let it tank. Now that's not to say we're not going to see any sort of decrease in prices. I actually believe we are going to have some sort of a pullback, maybe 10 to 15%, but nothing more than that. And if you look back historically, this has happened over and over again. Every time we have a massive bull run up, typically the market here in the Fraser Valley and Greater Vancouver regions pulls back between 10 to 15%, but it never really surpasses 15%. This typically happens relatively quickly over 12 to 24 months, and then back on upwards it goes. There's just too much demand, not enough supply, and the fact that BC is such an attractive area for families and investors alike, I just really don't ever see this happening. Now, let me reinforce the fact that we're not going to continue at these unsustainable rates. Seeing between 25 to 40% increases in a single year is absolutely ridiculous. But there's a couple reasons to thank for that, one of them being inflation. You have to think, if the government's going to print immense amounts of money and we have inflationary assets as property, it's probably going to go up. But there you have it. Those are all my thoughts from the data that I've been able to compile. But let me know, what do you think? Leave me a comment down below. And if you agree with anything that I said in the video today, I'll ask that you smash that like button in support. And if you think I'm an idiot and I don't know what I'm talking about, you should also smash that like button. But if you are interested in more real estate videos just like this one, as well as community tours across the Lower Mainland, I suggest you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so you're notified whenever I put out a new video. And if you are thinking about buying or selling in Surrey, Langley, or the rest of the Fraser Valley, you can scroll down, hit the first link in the description, and book a call with me at your earliest convenience. Thanks so much for watching today, and we'll see you in the next video.